Hey YouTube, this is Joanna Roberts, aka Superior Joe, and today we are going to have a lesson in bankruptcy. Now, this is something I actually know a lot about, not because I've personally filed, though I have definitely considered it, but I used to work in the auto finance department for GMAC. I worked there until my disability made it so I could no longer work, and I studied and learned a lot about bankruptcy. And with some of the stuff going on, it seems a lot of you really don't have any idea what bankruptcy is and what it entails. So, sit tight for this wonderful introduction to financial law. Bankruptcy in the American legal system is something that you're allowed to do once every 7 years. It basically allows you to clear your debt. When people tend to think of bankruptcy, what they tend to think of is an all-out Chapter 7. A Chapter 7 bankruptcy is a personal bankruptcy filed by an individual or two individuals wherein all of their debts, secured and unsecured, are forgiven except for, student loans and, government taxes and things like that. Now, some things people tend to get confused about are the differences between secured and unsecured debt and what real estate and stuff actually means. The difference between secured and unsecured debt is pretty simple. If you look out there to your car that you're making payments on, that is secured debt. The lender still basically owns the car, you are just making payments on it to pay it off. If you file bankruptcy, they have a right to come and take the car is not free. There are people that go out and they buy a lot of really fancy things right before they file bankruptcy, only to find out that they have to give those fancy things back or do something called a reaffirmation. A reaffirmation is basically when you sign a renewal of the loan for your house, for your car, for whatever secured debt you have. You sign the renewal of the loan with the finance company and you keep making your payments as normal and you're able to keep, whatever it is that you got the secured credit on. You see this done most often with cars and houses because a bankruptcy, well, it forgives your original contract for your, for your house or for your car. You do have to go back in and you have to basically say that, yes, I still want my house and my car. So, Chapter 7, the one most people think about, it used to be really easy to file. Anybody could file it. It was simple. You could go in and you didn't have to prove anything. That changed in the early 2000s with the means test. The means test basically goes in and says, well, if you didn't do anything but buy food and pay your bills, you could pay your bills off, so we're going to shuffle you into a Chapter 13. A Chapter 13 is the second most common of the 4 types of bankruptcy. A Chapter 13 is what's called a reorganization, and that's for an individual or a couple of individuals wherein they pay off their bills through a restructured plan and settlement. The restructured plan and settlement allows them to basically keep making payments, but it doesn't really look any better on your credit, so if you're looking to file bankruptcy and you don't quite qualify for the Chapter 7, don't file Chapter 13. There are lots of credit services out there that can actually help you out. Chapter 13 really should be a last-ditch thing. So now for the other 2 types of bankruptcy. Chapter 11, which is businesses, both large and small, and Chapter 12, which is family farms. And I believe you can also file Chapter 12 as a business, but it's a very rare thing. Chapter 11 is for businesses you either find filed under the individual with a doing business as, or found filed by the company and the trustees within the company. A Chapter 11 does not mean a business is going out of business. Lots of businesses, lots of big companies that are still around today have filed Chapter 11, some of them multiple times. All it means is they can no longer make the payments on their bills and they would like to restructure and reorganize. It does mean you sell some things off, you lose some assets, you admit that you have debt, but you're going to pay it off. And generally speaking, unless something really remarkable has happened, you are going to stay in business. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes a business will file a Chapter 7, and that's basically a pure liquidation. Everything's going, there's nothing left. But very, very rarely will a business actually file a Chapter 7. Businesses are almost always a Chapter 11. Chapter 12 is family farms, same thing. You basically go in and you basically say, I'm not making enough money to pay off my debts. In this case, you're talking farm equipment, John Deere, the big combines, all that stuff, and generally it's restructured so you can pay it. And again, for the most part, you're coming out pretty much okay, although you do have bankruptcy on your credit for, 7 years. Despite what people say, there's no magical way you can make a bankruptcy drop off of your record. It will stay there for 7 years and affect your credit, options for 7 years, but you will look better for not having all the debt, which is where the minor improvement in credit scores comes from. But basically, that's bankruptcies, and I'm assuming that Laughing Witch businesses probably filed a Chapter 11, or that she personally had a Chapter 13, and somebody went and dug all that information up and decided it was this huge-ass conspiracy theory when all it means is they're trying to find a way to pay their damn bills, and it's none of your business. So, that's it. That's all about, bankruptcy and how really somebody's personal financial information is none of your goddamn business. Well, that's it. I hope you guys all stay cool, and I'll see you later.